Hey everybody, it's Pete. Good morning. Welcome to a new episode of today's best stock picks. Had to make sure my mic was on. Recorded a long video last week without the sound on. We got profit taking this week. We came into the week, if you go back a little earlier into Tuesday, we fully said Monday, first 2 weeks of the year were just amazing. I might even say glorious, where obvious order flow, good opportunities right near our optimal entry, and even some deeper game planning where we got some stocks that we normally don't trade exploded. One of them traded 104% in just one day, and that was Triple D. And then we worked our way over into GME as we started to see unusual volume. So price action and volume, you start to read the tape a little bit better. However, during these opportunities, we happen to have noticed that the stocks that were breaking out prior to that weren't. And what's kind of interesting and kind of fun, actually, as a trader, as somebody who's really looking to make the stock market make the money, you really need to be on top of, we really need to be on top of, we're on the same team, right? We need to be on top of rotation. We need to be, and what's crazy awesome about rotation right now is it used to be like, oh yeah, stocks rotated, over a couple of months. Now it's happening in a couple of hours. If you're trading in front of your screen and you have your watch list set up properly, there's opportunities by the hour where one sector sees money, and then another hour the profit taking comes in there and money goes into the next hour, and then that manifests over days and weeks, right? So you have really good opportunities both as a day trader and a swing trader, and I think that's one of the most exciting things that we do together, is because when we're on top of that, it's pretty easy to spot where you're supposed to be. However, then there's the expectation of follow through. As I talked about a little bit in this morning's Stocks for Breakfast video, I'll post the link here. I think expectations are starting to get a little bit out of whack, where people are literally asking me, is 20% this week good? My account went up 20% this week. Is that good? That's batty. It's awesome. It's great that it's happening, but it's batty. To be asking the question, if 20% in a week is good, the scales are a little bit tipped too far. Everybody's on one side of the boat and it's going to tip over, which is kind of what we came into this week expecting. If you listen to a lot of the videos we did this week, we expected to have profit taking. We were making sure we didn't get involved too far past the optimal entry. And even on our swing trades, we were a little bit more inclined to be booking profits a little bit sooner as they approached our profit target, maybe not squeezing out the entire thing, where I've been taking some off the table just prior to the target and seeing what we can get on the balance. But that's a natural function of the market. I was looking for my copy of Reminiscences of a Stock Operator. I couldn't find it. And he clearly says, and everybody knows it, but that's such a classic everybody has read, when you're long, you expect pullbacks. When you're involved in the market, there's natural pauses in the market. And I guess I'm starting this out because I'm shocked at how many people think the market can't go down, won't go down, and even just one day of the market going down are panicking. I got news for you. The percentage returns that we have seen, especially since March, Tesla's up 1,000% in that time period. The percentage returns are amazing, glorious, but they're not long-term sustainable. I hope we continue to see a raging bull market, but to have the vision that 20% in a week is somehow considered underperforming is silly. It's silly. So what we want to make sure, what we're going to discuss again today, we're going to talk about the solar stocks, which have come back and play a little bit. We're going to talk about, which we've been talking about for the last 2 weeks. Hopefully you took advantage of it, which is the semiconductor stocks. And then we have a few other stocks that broke out. We're going to set up some swing trades for next week. Someone yesterday in the comments asked, can we follow up on the Microsoft trade that we discussed yesterday? We're going to get into all of that right now. If you find these videos helpful, if you can please click down and give us a thumbs up and also subscribe to the channel. That would mean a lot to me. Hopefully that I'm providing value for you and you'll get some updates when new stuff comes out. So let's head on over to the charts. We're going to start out with Microsoft and the trade that we discussed yesterday. And at the beginning of the video right now, I just want to say, be a smart trader right now and look to both sides. If you have profitable trades, learn to let them run. If you put a trade on and it starts to move down towards your stop loss, it's not a good practice. Can I just move it a little bit? Can I just move it a little bit? In the long run, that one time you move it and you keep moving it, you're going to get hammered. Stick to your stops and then look for a spot to get in. We actually talked yesterday about setting alerts so you don't miss those re-entries. You might want to take a look at that one as well. So we're going to head on over to the screen. We're going to take a look at, we're going to start out with, actually, we're going to start out with Microsoft. Let's start out with that first stock that we discussed yesterday. We were very specific about what we said we wanted to see yesterday. We've been watching this 224 level. We actually got long here at 224. It did not follow through, took the loss. Yesterday, we had 2 impressive days heading into yesterday, and yesterday traded into what we call a melted candle, and that's not what we want to see. So let me zoom this out a little bit. What we want to see on a breakout is another candle exactly like this. A melted candle basically opens up and closes at pretty much the same place. That's indecision. That's not clarity. That's not one side saying, I definitely want this guy. So we didn't get it. We were very clear that we wanted to see a well-bid candlestick yesterday above 224, closing near the highs, which would confirm the previous 2 days buying. We didn't get it. So that sets up a new trade today. And I'm actually moving my level a little bit higher to 226. I don't want to get involved in this noise. It did not trigger a trade yesterday. It did not give me what I wanted to see yesterday, which, by the way, it's kind of an advanced strategy, but something that is done especially for active traders, members who are trading within that 2 to 4 day window where they're just going for cash flow. You could look to put on trades at the end of the day into the market close, looking for the next day's opening to sell as a quicker profit. But again, we didn't get that. We didn't see that strong close. We didn't see the extra buying into the end of the day. And you can make a case that we got above 226 and failed again. So now I want to see well-bid strong close above 226, and then 224 will most likely be my stop loss. We actually got a good follow through on Apple yesterday. We actually got all the way up and through that 138 level that we called out yesterday. But again, if you listen to the video yesterday, we said up to 138 is the first piece of the trade. We want to see it get above 138, pause above 138, confirming the fresh buying. Then we'd look for a new second piece to add. First piece of the trade unfolded as planned. Now we need to wait and see how the rest of it unfolds. Some ideas that we're going to take a look at. We want to stay on top of the solar stock. So yesterday, CSIQ was one of the trades. Now, this is a big deal. Yesterday, the stock went parabolic. It's 3 days after the optimal entry, which means that it's lower probability of following through on a swing trade. So a couple of these stocks I'm going to talk about now, it's sector rotation and looking at stocks that are in play right now. And they might not be a trade today, but you need to keep them in your watch list. You need to set alerts. You need to watch the price action over the next couple of days. So if they have good earnings or if they have good price action, it's something like this that traded through, looked awesome, pulls back for a couple of days, it's in your watch list and you're prepared to buy a strong stock with a weak close that has natural pullbacks in the market looking for the next move higher. So sticking with the solar stocks, we're looking at CSIQ, ENPH. And the ENPH, I had a question yesterday why I chose this. This is actually the stock that has had the most consistent price action from week to week. It just really hasn't pulled back that much at all. This is probably like the biggest pullback in the entire thing. So out of the group that we're watching right now, this has been the most consistent. And SOL, hopefully you took this swing trade with us last week. We had the optimal entry over here, and we scaled out in the boot camp yesterday up into our profit target. So now we're looking for a new entry to buy these stocks long. So again, they're a little bit further past the optimal entry. So now we're looking for a price action to settle in. Same thing with some of these semiconductor stocks. DQ exploded yesterday, took out some levels. Micron consolidated now for 2 days. And Taiwan Semiconductor, TSM. All of these stocks are seeing a little bit of profit taking after making new all-time highs. So it's a natural function of the market. The reason I keep bringing this up is I'm shocked at how many people actually have the belief that the market never goes down. It's a natural function of the market. There's accumulation, there's markup, there's profit taking, there's letting the market pause that pulls back a little bit. Those buyers step back in and you have another move higher. That's why I showed you DFS. You need to watch for that next move, right? So those are those two. We also want to talk about space. Space is actually a very interesting one. Just to give you an idea of what it looked like yesterday, this here was based on a news story about launching what they're calling the mothership. But more importantly, we had a buy stop in. We had a resting buy stop in the market. It got us into the trade. We all talked about it in the boot camp, what that meant. And I want to walk you through the process of what we were watching. We've been talking quite a bit about this $28 level has been the level that's been struggling at. And you can see here, got there and failed, right? But now it finally punched through there on some good news, and it paused for 4 days, thereby, I'm going to use a strong word, but put it in context, confirming the bullish gap. It held the bid. So now we were looking for a new entry, and we set that buy stop, and the buy stop triggered yesterday, and we were looking to remain long, looking for the next leg higher. So this is what I mean. Today's an important video to be setting up some trades for today, but also making sure certain stocks are in your watch list for next week. Next, we're going to jump into some stocks that had some really good price action yesterday, which includes SUNW. Okay, this used to be Sun Microsystems as far as the symbol is concerned. And when I first saw it, I'm like, no, that's Sun Microsystems. So again, sticking with the same sectors, sticking with the hot stocks, but, and this is important, understanding what the optimal entry is. The optimal entry on this stock was about 7 days ago. Yesterday was a parabolic move to be scaling out into your profit target. When Linda Raschke used to talk all the time years ago when I was in our membership about when the ducks are quacking, feed them. And this is one of those situations. So scaling out, looking for a natural function of the market, pausing, and then looking for the next move higher. Big C is one that I have not traded. I have been talking people out of trading while the market's been a raging bull market. Recently, we're starting to see some days to the upside with a little bit higher volume, slightly calling that accumulation. Not a bullish move yet. However, it is close to breaking this longer term downtrend, this longer term selling order flow that's been going on for a while. If it does, have it in your list, and you will be one of the first people to pay attention because you planned for it and then got involved. FUTU is another one that we had in the boot camp yesterday. Really amazing day trade yesterday. Give all the credit to members of the community who called this one out. And again, the more we're watching together, looking at the same thing, looking at order flow, looking at tape reading, we start to amplify the amount of good opportunities. And this is a really solid one from the community. But now again, it had a bullish gap, and then a giant day yesterday. This is actually a good example here of a question that we get all the time, which is, do you bail on a lower opening in a strong stock that you're swing trading? Do you sell because it looks like it's going to open lower? The answer is no, not as long as the trade is still valid. And that's a good example that if you would have sold on the lower opening, you would have missed out on $12 extra in the push higher yesterday. So now that a lot of these stocks, again, they have reached what we call saturation points, we're setting up these trades for next week. What else? IBM is really interesting now. IBM is now getting up to levels that it has not broken in a long time. And you see we have some room to go up into the 150s if we can clear these 135, 136 levels. So again, stocks to watch for next week. Two interesting stocks that are kind of cool that we were joking around yesterday, Intel and General Motors. I can't even remember the last time both of these stocks were relevant and in my daily watch list. They're both in the watch list now. And Intel yesterday, earnings this week, it's trading a little bit lower right now. So it's selling into earnings after having this rally up. So a little bit of sell the news, right? Classic trading there. So now I'm watching Intel like a hawk at 64, and look at the room to go through these levels. 64 to start a new position, above 68 to consider adding to a position. There's a lot to unpack this week, but the biggest thing I want to get across, there was more money to be made this week. There were some good opportunities. If you scripted your success, like we talk about in the boot camp, you're ready and stuff follows through. The part that I want to keep getting across is this. We came into the week expecting profit taking. We got it. Now, here's the thing. Expectations for follow through are a little bit warped right now, where if it's not going straight up every day and easy, people are trying to figure out what they're doing wrong. You're not doing anything wrong. That's a natural function of the market. That's normal market conditions, especially pulling back from all-time highs. It's very hard to be confused or feel like something's wrong when the market made new all-time highs yesterday. And today there's a little bit of a sell-off. That's normal. It's a normal part of the market. You need to get better at, if it's confusing you or if you're not prepared for it, you need to get better at understanding when to book your profits. And here's a big one as well. Be okay if profitable trades come back and the worst thing that happens is you get out for a flat, which is you got in and got out at the same price, in exchange for the trades that don't come back, keep going, and those are the ones that pay your bills. Think about what I just said. You have a profitable trade that moves in your favor, comes back. You had to give it a little bit of room. You had your stop loss. Worst case scenario, it moved in your favor, not enough for you to book a profit, not near your profit target, pulled back, and you took a flat on the trade. You took a break even on that trade. If the worst thing that happens is you take an acceptable loss, a break even, or a big win, sign me up for that the rest of my life. So if you're one of those traders right now struggling, saying, what am I missing? I had four losers this week and 7 winners this week. I'm still net profitable, but I don't like those 3 losers. That's the downside of what we do. There's roller coaster mental part of trading. And if you get to the next level, it's not a big deal. It's a part of what we do. We accept risk, meaning we accept the fact that there's going to be risk in exchange for the reward. So just be okay and respect risk and stick to your stops. If you have some trades that move against you, if you put on a good trade that didn't follow through, that's part of trading. It's a part of trading. It happens to everybody. I've been very transparent with everybody about the trades that I've made money on, trades that I've lost money on. It's a part of trading. But you know what professional traders say? Go make it back. Have a great day, everybody.